Hey, it's Paris. You know I love sparkly things, right? Like stars. Duh. And thanks to Hilton and AutoCamp, I just slept under them. Picture me, serving looks by the fire outside my luxurious Airstream, making s'mores with the kids, while a national park is our backdrop. The great outdoors meets Hilton hospitality. That's hot. Explore all the new ways to stay at Hilton.com. Hilton for the stay.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
With a major selection of the looks your kiddos love starting at just $4 in the Walmart app, a new school year means a stylish new them. Who knew? Find skater skirts and Crocs that say, I'm casual but cool. Sparkly sneakers that say, it's my classroom, you're just learning in it. And preppy polos that say, I'm the teacher's pet, even if they're mommy's menace at home. Find their favorite styles starting at just $4 in the app. The Walmart you thought you knew is now new.
Hey there, we're Book Talk for Book Talk with Jack and Amy, your book besties who take the novels you love seriously.
This is Jack.
And I'm Amy.
We embrace and respect modern fantasy, romance, and romantasy books written by women. And so it is in our nature to analyze these books as we would any other novel we might have dissected in school.
With our combined 13 years of literary academic training, we use our education to analyze and give voice to reasons you may love or hate today's popular books.
This is part 2 of this week's episode, where we're discussing chapters 22 through 26 of Sarah J. Maas's second Throne of Glass novel, Crown of Midnight.
Before we dive in, don't forget SPILT. Spoilers, perspective and interpretation, language, and themes.
If you'd like more information, please go back and listen to the start of part 1 of this week's episode.
We are now in chapter 24, and Dorian has no one to talk to about his magic, except, that scary witch out at the carnival, aka Baba Yellowlegs.
He's like, this is a great idea.
This is such a great idea. Let me ask this scary witch to keep my secrets.
Yeah.
So he goes to her. Why? Because he really wants to figure out why he has magic. And he doesn't go immediately, but he finally just gives up and basically gives in. Mm-hmm. And it's because he thinks, quote, he was plagued by magic. And I think that word choice is really, really telling. Magic is a plague, is a disease, and Dorian is infected. So he's really bought in to the mindset of his father, of the rest of Otterlin, that everyone with magic should die. And that's, when that is so fundamental to his thinking, it's no wonder that he continues to be sick every time he uses his magic.
Yeah, absolutely. If there was any moment of confusion when it comes to Baba Yellowlegs, if there was any moment where a person might be like, I think she might be good. I think that was me throughout when I read it the first time. Yeah, even throughout her death, I was a Baba Yellowlegs apologist. But SJM is here to tell us, no, pay attention to the clues. She is not a good character. Quote, a chipped plate heaped with roast chicken parts resting on her knee. A pile of clean licked bones littered the ground below. There's a contrast here, a contradiction between the broken plate and the clean bones. So we're starting to see the deadliness. Like, she doesn't care about this plate. What she will care about is how clean these bones are and how she's just going to start eating the marrow. I'm like, oh, that was so... Oh, I don't like the visual or the audio that I'm imagining when she cracks a bone and sucks from the marrow. Mm-hmm. And it shows that Baba Yellowlegs does not care about propriety, but she does care about death in the sense that she wants to cause it.
Mm-hmm. She is meant to come across as creepy, and SJM accomplishes this by paying so much attention to Baba Yellowlegs eating the chicken throughout her conversation with Dorian. She's the one in control the entire time. When we think about food is power, she's the one eating. She's the one breaking those chicken bones. And Dorian, rightly so, is like creeped out.
Yeah.
So I'm going to read some of those lovely quotes. The chicken leg cracked in two. He tried to not cringe at the slurping sounds as she sucked out the marrow. Great use of alliteration. Or in this case, sibilance, because it starts with an S at the beginning of the word. She picked up a chicken wing. Crack, crunch. She peeled the skin off the breast of the chicken and guzzled it down, smacking her weathered lips together.
No one needed that. No one needed that.
I am confident Dorian is thinking about basically how this witch could eat him alive.
Yeah. It's gross. I don't like it. Still not, I still don't hate her though. But wait, there's more. Quote, she smelled atrocious, like mildew and rotted blood. Making it very clear that Baba Yellowlegs is part of death. She is so not good that her blood itself is rotting. The clone, again, the bones might be clean, but she is rotting from the inside. And it's almost like SJM's like, hey guys, I'm going to set up a character and make them so creepy or so evil that it's going to be okay that Celaena kills them. It's just a nice little clue of, if, you know, like maybe that should have been the first sign that Celaena was going to kill them or kill Baba Yellowlegs, because it's like, hey, look at this creepy hoe.
Yeah.
Don't we want her to die?
Yeah.
Dorian.
She basically threatened to eat Dorian alive. She didn't.
Oh yeah, you're right, huh?
She doesn't.
No, but it's
you know,
kind of implied.
It's implied.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Dorian, though, is trying to be sneaky and smooth, and he is neither of these things, nor will he ever be either of those things. Quote, he gave her a playful, wounded smile that had the old woman rolling her eyes. She made him want to run in the other direction, but he had to get through this. It's really amazing how much Dorian really relies on his charm as a weapon, as a self-defense, as the last reinforcement he possibly could have. And it's very similar to Celaena, but the difference is Celaena has a number of tools at her disposal. Charm is just one of them. Dorian, on the other hand, that's really all he's got. And I think that relying on his charm in a moment like this makes him more vulnerable because of how obvious of a lack of tools he has.
Right. And like charm just has no power when you're facing someone who is a witch who has the ability to flay you alive.
Which is funny because he will charm a different witch. But we're not saying anything.
We're not there yet.
No. God, I can't wait though. Take a sip, listener.
During Dorian's conversation with Baba Yellowlegs about how one could hypothetically have magic, you know, asking for a friend, she emphasizes that he's asking the wrong questions since no one on the continent can access their magic. Quote, oh, wait, I need to do this in my Baba Yellowlegs voice.
Everyone gather round. Amy's about to do her Baba Yellowlegs voice.
Quote, even the surviving... I just...
I'm not looking at you.
Apparently I'm too tired for this.
No, I think you can... Hey, kitties.
Quote, even the surviving Fae can't access their powers. Even my head is shaking. Like, okay, let me be normal. Some of them remain trapped in their animal forms. Miserable wretches. Taste like animals, too. She laughed, a crow's caw that made the hair on the back of his neck rise. Now, it's interesting that SJM uses the use of crow as the metaphor here to describe Baba Yellowlegs, because crows have dual meanings. On one hand, there's intelligence and prophecy, which we have seen from Baba Yellowlegs. She said, you know, your fate is coming from you in a couple chapters ago.
Your fate is for you.
Yes. I couldn't remember the exact quote.
You said
so
from.
thank you. Oh, I thought I said for.
so you say the words correctly so often. This happens not at all.
In my head, I heard this happens plenty of times when I'm tired. I hear what I
No,
think I
welcome
said.
to my world. Again, you are me now.
Yep. Yep. So the other side of the crow meaning is death and trickery, which also feels appropriate for Baba Yellowlegs. Dorian becomes increasingly uncomfortable being around the witch. Quote, against his will, he found himself reaching for the ancient force slumbering inside him, wondering if it would somehow shield him from Yellowlegs the way it had from the shattering window. The thought made him queasy. So again, Dorian accessing his power highlights his weakness, even though it provides him strength.
Yeah. He just is not. This wasn't his brightest moment. That's fine.
No, it really wasn't.
He's pretty. And that's what matters. We are now in Celaena's point of view. As I keep saying, Celaena is giving Chaol everything, but now she's starting to give up the honor that she was gaining just by his proximity. In this moment, Celaena is thinking about the rebels, and she's just thinking like, maybe I can give some information to the king. Maybe I can negotiate to get out of this deal sooner. And she thinks, quote, so maybe she wouldn't even have to do anything. Maybe she wouldn't have to risk her life or Chaol's. Maybe, just maybe, whatever their motives, these people could find a way to stop the king and free all of Aurelia as well. The shift is here. The shift is that she wants others to do her job. Again, these rebels. So she is thinking, maybe if I give up some of the rebel names, the king will get off my back and I can get out of this deal sooner. / maybe some of these rebels are the ones who will actually take care of the job. But she just wants to run away with Chaol because, again, she's trying to match what he's matching, and that's giving up everything.
Right. And Chaol has already consented to it. If you run away, I'll run away with you. If you want to be normal, I want to be normal with you.
Mm-hmm.
And she's hoping to have her cake and eat it too in this instance. She wants others to do the hard work so she can run away and be with Chaol. And it's getting away from her truest self, which is what you've been saying, Jack. It's getting away from the honor she was developing, the honor that is inherent to her royal bloodline and the court from which she comes. Instead, it's creating a mindset and it's setting her up for her fight with Nehemia.
Yeah. I think now this is totally a moment of youth, right? Like I would not expect anything less from 18-year-old Celaena here. Again, as we're about to get into more sex scenes, they are all in their late 20s, early 30s in my mind. But in this moment, she's 18. And that is the fact that if she was really planning on running away with Chaol, of giving it all up, of having him sacrifice everything, she would need to be honest about her true identity.
Mm-hmm.
That is not something like if she was really truly ready to, if he is the one, if that is the person that you are ride or die, like this is it, you are my person, then you have to be willing to tell them the truth. It's not fair for Chaol to take off for her, to take off with her, because then if her true identity is exposed, suddenly he's now in danger of everything. And, you know, it's hard because it's like, hey, I need to tell you something that you have to keep to yourself, but it's also like, you know, you may want to break up with me for it. So like, you know, I don't know, maybe figure out some kind of word mark blood oath situation you can have here. But it is an unfortunate thing because I feel like this is the moment where she should be telling him, and she's trying to not just run away from her responsibilities, but from the truth she should be telling Chaol as well.
Because we've said it in other books where the gender roles have been reversed, right? Where the man has been withholding his identity. And what did we say? You can't be consenting to someone who's withholding their identity. And so in some ways, Celaena has taken, I mean, actually just plainly, Celaena has taken advantage of Chaol because he only knows a mask.
Yeah.
He does not know her.
She has taken away his ability to fully consent to their life together. And that is unfortunate. It's more than just sex at this point, right? We
Mhm.
talk about with other characters, normally it's the man who's like, I'm actually the evil prince that's meant to kill you. Surprise. But that's not the case here. It's almost worse because it's like she's not trying to do a one-time hookup thing. She's trying to get him to, she's not trying to get him to do anything, but he is willing to give up his entire life for her.
Mhm.
You cannot consent to that. You cannot do something like that and not have him be fully informed.
Right.
Okay. For the following moment, again, 28, 34, we'll say that. They're not these ages. We now get to the famous and wonderful broom closet scene. And this point, Celaena just goes like they're fucking, right? A week has passed.
Mhm.
A
I think 4
cruel week.
days.
Huh?
4 days.
It's just so unfair that we not only are they not together that long, we don't get to have any of this.
Mhm.
I feel cheated and deprived in many ways. So she goes and pulls him out of a meeting just so they can bone. And like they're like, okay, we don't have time to make it back to your place. Quick, this broom closet. Quote, Chaol's blood roared through him. He followed her into the closet and wedged a broom beneath the handle. Show us the closet. I have questions. Is it her back against the wall? Is it her front against the wall?
I just want to know.
Yeah. Saddest. I won't be this sad again about this type of thing until a certain other two characters that will come much later down the road.
Yeah.
And that will devastate me as well. Again, send me fanfics, people. We are now about to get into the big argument between Celaena and Nehemia. And this is going to be their last conversation. And I think there's a reason why it all goes downhill. And I think it's because Celaena's happy. Quote, I'm happy for you, my friend. Celaena smiled back. I think I'm happy for me too. And she was. For the first time in years, she was truly happy. I don't feel like Nehemia would have gone in this hard on her if Celaena didn't have joy, which is already a shit thing to say. I don't think Nehemia is a good friend. I don't think she's a good person. I don't think she's a good character. I don't blame Nehemia. I blame SJM having written a half-assed character. But I'm going to go in on Nehemia now because I can't go in on SJM. So please know that I know all those things. Celaena doesn't get to be happy. This isn't a matter of destiny, and it's not a matter of how Nehemia can combine Celaena's happiness with destiny, right? There's no pitching things to her. There's no like, hey, I'm so happy for you, bestie. Chaol seems like a great guy. He really seems like the kind of guy that would love a rebellion, So honorable, that Chaol. So honorable. He would love to free some Eelway slaves. But that's not what she's doing. She immediately takes it to a very dark place. She
Very
resents
dark.
her.
She does. And which is so odd for a character that went out of her way to tell Dorian, don't get in the way of Celaena and Chaol.
Yeah.
Who has gone out of her way to see these two together.
Yeah.
And is it because it's bad writing, which I think to some degree it is, but it is also, I think, motivated by the fact that Celaena's happiness makes her complacent with where the state of the world is.
Yeah.
And that is fundamentally against Nehemia's wishes and wants for her people. So what is Nehemia going to do? She's immediately going to challenge Celaena's happiness, even though she's just said, I'm so happy for you, my friend. And she has to do this by making Celaena swear to free the people of Eelway.
Yeah,
It's just not the time or place.
It's so not the time or place. I understand being frustrated that the happiness has made Celaena complacent. As you said, Amy, 4 days have passed. Not much. When you're saying, like, why is this the Nehemia that made Dorian swear not to do anything? And maybe at a certain point, Nehemia was potentially even planning on breaking up this relationship between the two of them to help
Mm-hmm.
inspire her. Who knows? But I want to further prove why Nehemia is resentful of Celaena. As we were saying, it's about these Eelway slaves. Nehemia says, quote, "When the king invaded Eelway all those years ago, I knew that I would someday have to make a choice that would haunt me." She cupped her forehead in a palm. "I didn't think it would be this hard." Nehemia is not thinking about Celaena right now. Nehemia is thinking about the slaves, but also about herself, of thinking,
Mm-hmm.
holy shit, this is now a lot harder for me. I am a ruler, I am a leader, and I'm going to have to make a very hard choice with something that's going to stay on her mind, on her shoulders for years to come. All valid. But that's not a reason why you go in hard on your friend because of it. It's not like Celaena has a choice in any of those things. It works though, because then Celaena starts feeling guilty. Quote, "She spent the week lost in thought of Chaol. Nehemia had spent her week trying to balance the fate of her kingdom, and Celaena had clues littering the ground at her feet. Clues that might help Nehemia in her cause against the king, and command from Elena that she'd practically ignored. All this has to be is a moment of like, wow, I need to get my act together.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's all this needed to be. And it still could have just been that way if fucking Elena didn't get involved either, like that hoe.
I have so much to say when we get to chapter 25.
Yeah. Fuck that bitch. Anyway, I love my fuck ring. Ugh. Anyway, so the one last thing that I kind of want to talk about this before Amy continues with this quote is just the idea of fate and desiring something versus happiness and peace. And there is such a battle between what is fate and what is desiring. We're going to get into it later where Elena's like, nah, she can handle it. And that's cruel because there is a world where destiny and fate can happen with happiness as well.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why I can maybe understand why people aren't interested in reading fantasy in general.
Yeah.
Because oftentimes fate and happiness do not go hand in hand. Fate is delayed gratification, but like with so much suffering and war and fighting and pain, where, you don't even know if the characters can enjoy peace or happiness from moment to moment or appreciate the little things. And life isn't that way. Life is about finding happiness in the journey.
There's been a few books as of late, and I can't spoil which one it is or any of these are, but I will say I feel like there's been an uptick in trends where we get the main male love interest, the fated interest in the first book, and they're solid. It's not like the rest of the books, or, I mean, as far as we know, it's not like the future books ends up being like, oh, like what's going to happen to their relationship, which I still love those, don't get me wrong. But kind of what you're saying is like, fate is delayed gratification. I think where it's like, I can appreciate the concept of fate and like the pains that these characters have to go through. I just want them, like, if you're going to do that, give them one happy thing, like, and make that a romantic partner or something. Not in SJM's world. No. We just hurt. The series is depressing.
Yeah, absolutely. So continuing the quote from Nehemia, quote, "Nehemia took her hand. 'Promise me,' she said, her dark eyes shining, 'promise me that you'll help me free Ilway from him because your needs are greater than hers.'"
Yeah.
And maybe ultimately it's the honorable thing. Maybe it's the right thing. Maybe that's fate. But of course, Celaena's answer is going to be no. Like, what has ever shown you that Celaena would say yes? She's always said no. She's always skirted around the topic.
And what has Nehemia ever done to help the answer be yes? Other than shame her,
nag,
other than everything else, and trying to guilt her of like, well, now I can't tell my parents about you because you suck.
This is a very poorly written character, or it's just maybe it's a very well written character who's just a really shitty person. Like,
And
I
if
can't
that's
tell.
the case, then fucking don't make it the one person of color.
Yeah.
That's the other. I mean, we will always acknowledge and admit how and agree with how unbelievably screwed up that is. But yeah, I think what also is frustrating about it is that how martyred Nehemia becomes in Celaena's
Mm-hmm.
mind. And
Mm-hmm.
and from what I can remember, I don't think there's really like a full wow, Nehemia kind of sucked moment
Yeah.
from Celaena. It ends up being like, no, my wonderful friend, she did no wrong and I screwed up and oh my god, like I ruined everything. And it's like, were we not part of the same conversation, Celaena? Because I'm
Yeah.
reading it and you didn't have to feel that guilty.
Mm-hmm.
Nehemia really starts to panic and she, like we know, she's asking her to look after the Eelway, look after the Eelway people. And that's because she's having a one-sided conversation. Quote, promise me that you'll see my father's crown restored to him, that you'll see my people returned from Endovir and Calaculla. I'm just an assassin. There is no other way. Eelway must be freed. And with you helping me, we could start to gather a host to... No, Nehemia blinked, but Celaena shook her head. Not for all the world would I help you muster an army against him. You barely got a taste of the kind of brutality he unleashed elsewhere. You raise a force against him, and he'll butcher you. I won't be a part of that. It's so unfair it's like, not only it's like, hey, can you free my people, restore
Mm-hmm.
the crown to my father?
Mm-hmm.
Also, don't forget my other people in these other camps. Also, can you gather an army? And I really feel like Celaena saying no to her is jarring to Nehemia because Nehemia is a princess and isn't used to
Mm-hmm.
being told no. So
Right.
I find this to be the first time Celaena's actually standing up for herself when it comes with Nehemia. This is the first time that she's saying, no, you weren't there. You don't know the trauma of what I
Mm-hmm.
went through, of what everyone else went through. I can't do that again, and I'm not going to help you go through that. And Nehemia isn't asking Celaena, though, like to be like, hey, assassin, come help me with this. She's saying, like, I'm going to need you to
Mm-hmm.
step into your role as queen. I'm going to need you to gather an army, which now means I need you to be in charge of other people's lives. I need you to be in charge of other people dying for you. That's what Nehemia is asking. That is a hell of a lot to ask.
It's wild to me that Nehemia flat out is ignoring Celaena's trauma
Yeah.
when Celaena doesn't know that Nehemia has perfect knowledge of the trauma.
Yeah.
Right? Nehemia is the one other person in the kingdom who understands what Celaena's been through because she knows who she truly is. And yet Nehemia's like, it's fine. You just need to try.
But like, did you even try? But did you even try? I mean, what would have it hurt at this point in the conversation to reveal that she knows? Is that another fucking Elena thing that she said? Don't tell her that you know?
Probably.
Probably. I'm mad.
I am too.
This isn't going to get better.
Nope. So, from Celaena's point of view, the reason why she will not help Nehemia is because the proof is in Terrason's downfall. Quote, they were the strongest court on the continent. They were the strongest court on any continent, and he killed them. Now, SJM is very smart. We've heard this from Nehemia previously. We've even seen it from Dorian's point of view recently when he was in the library. So we do believe Celaena in this moment when she says it. So, that being the case, if the king of Otterland can destroy the strongest court on the continent, then a princess with some rebels and an assassin aren't gonna cut it.
Right? That's not the most motivational thing of like, hey, this court that everyone says was the strongest court to ever court, but you, my friend, can totally do it. It's unfair. Like, what is fate? What is destiny? Like, what does any of it mean? Or what, who's in charge of that? And Celaena tells her, quote, I am one person. And then Nehemia says, one person chosen by Queen Elena, one person whose brow burned with a sacred mark on the day of that duel, one person who, despite the odds, is still breathing. Our paths crossed for a reason. If you are not God blessed, then who is? Is it destiny if it's already been decided? Like, I could decide we're going to get sushi today and then go and say, hey, I think it's destiny that we're here. You know, like who gets to decide that? And I will say, please go to breadcrumbs and broomsticks because I will have a nice little rant for you there.
Yeah.
The one-sided conversation to me is very difficult, especially with the lack of knowledge that's being given. As we said before, Nehemia is the one with the most amount of knowledge here. She knows everything. Like, she fucking knows about the word marks. She knows about like Celaena's past. She knows about Dorian's power. There is knowledge is power. Nehemia is the most knowledgeable one. And this is her manipulating her power over Celaena.
And doing it badly.
Doing it very badly. If you're going to have power manipulate people, do it better. Talking about the king, she says, quote, when you look at him, you sense that there's a greater twisted power around him. How did such a man conquer so much of the continent so quickly? Yeah, I mean, valid questions that we should be having, not like this. And again, like, why can't Nehemia tell her about the word stones? And it's fucking Elena. It's fucking, because it's a plot, because it's a book, it's not real. Reminding myself this, centering myself for that, because I think that I just struggle so much with that of like, why does any of this have to remain a secret when you could just try to tell the person, then you can go plan your murder. Don't say, I didn't want to say go kill yourself, but like go plan your own murder. Okay.
Yeah.
Let that be, hear me out. I think that should be plan C. Just saying.
Or Z.
So many other plans can happen. I will say, though, I do think that in all of this, as much as it annoys me, SJM is really good at, as an author, asking herself, the reader, the characters, certain questions. And one of those questions is, what is the right thing to do? Nehemia tells Celaena, quote, you will not help because all you care about is yourself. And so what if I do? Celaena splayed her arms. So what if I want to spend the rest of my life in peace? What's the right thing? Like, what does it make someone when they choose differently? Like, we've talked about this. I think it was like the first episode, because I just edited that one that came out this past week. But we talk about like the privilege of not caring, the privilege of being able to say, I don't want to be a part of this. And I talk about having that moral social code of, we're technically all obligated, I believe, to try to help one another. But, and that's easier said than done. And, like, we know the right thing is for Celaena to go step up and, help everyone. But again, I don't know. I just, this ain't it.
No, it's a lot to ask an 18-year-old.
Absolutely. And I don't think the answer is traumatize her more.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, we get some of the harshest words from someone that anyone can say to anyone. Quote,
for being their last words.
For them being their last words. Quote, I didn't realize that you were just a coward. Celaena looked over her shoulder. Say that again. Nehemia didn't flinch. You're a coward. You are nothing more than a coward. Celaena's fingers clenched at her fist. When your people are lying dead around you, she hissed, don't come crying to me. Is Nehemia a coward for not being willing to trust Celaena and go against Elena? Maybe that's a good fucking question to ask.
I think that is a good question. I am not defending Nehemia.
Yeah, no. Don't worry.
I am not defending Nehemia, but in some ways, Celaena fighting back in this moment could be because she does feel like a coward.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it is her darkest secret and hates that she is that way and has been called out for it.
Yes.
So is Nehemia wrong to call Celaena a coward? I don't necessarily think so, but I do think Nehemia is wrong in general.
Yeah.
We've talked about how she's being impatient. Like, Ilway's been enslaved for a while. An 18-year-old's delay of a week because she's having sex for the first time is a small drop in the bucket in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
So and this goes back to the writing. Ultimately, SJM needed to raise the stakes and put pressure on Celaena so that Nehemia could ultimately sacrifice herself so that Celaena would start her journey.
Yeah.
However, not necessarily well done.
On one hand, we could be like, wow, we're feeling so many emotions. She did such a good job. This is how we're supposed to be feeling conflicted. I could say true. However, the ripple effects of Celaena just not really coming to this conclusion that Nehemia was super at fault too is what doesn't really save it. Now, maybe she does in a future book, and I just don't remember that. If that's the case, please remind us in a nice, gentle way. But I really feel like this was not executed well. And you could have hit the same emotions. You could have hit the same argument. You could have hit the same high stakes. It just does not. You would need a certain payoff that I don't see in this book, and I don't remember in future books.
Yeah. I think if I was SJM's editor, and I won't belabor this point, because I do think there's a reason why Celaena leaves Rifthold as it's starting to become spring. I think there's symbolism in that.
Yep.
So I understand maybe having a tight timeline. However, there needed to be greater stakes for Nehemia to be as impatient as she is.
Yes.
Maybe her parents have been kidnapped. They're being threatened to be killed. And, there's got to be something more than the status quo for Nehemia to overreact the way she's reacting.
The answer to all of this is develop Nehemia as a character.
Yeah, that too.
I mean, but that comes into what you're saying of adding the higher stakes for her, right?
Yeah.
Because then you start having her be a more developed character, right? Like then it ends up being, we have these things, like we know she's trying to win over the queen of Aderlin. We know that there's some other stuff, but we don't have those super high stakes beyond the high stakes, right? Like we need the thing, like why is there a fire underneath her that's making her reckless now? Right? Because this is reckless. This is not a thought out person. And I don't know enough about Nehemia to know if she is a reckless person. Like this is what I'm getting from her. So yeah, I can guess that she's reckless, but at the same time, she's normally so put together and the wise one. So if Nehemia was a better, like if we were SJM's editor, how do we save this, right? Because that might be someone who's listening and be like, you guys are just complaining and you're not offering a solution. The solution is make her a character that this makes that sense. And give us a reason beyond, oh, I'm just now remembering that I have all these people that I'm in charge of.
Yeah. Take a sip?
Yeah, take a sip. We are now in the shortest fucking beautiful chapter, which is funny because it's the one I hate the most. And it's Elena telling Nehemia to get things in motion in order to get Celaena moving. Now, it's all done in a very smart way, right? The queen said to the princess, I can't tell if I knew right off the bat, like, this is Nehemia and Elena, but in hindsight, it's like, oh, I know exactly what's happening.
Right.
Quote, one of them has to break, the queen said to the princess. Only then can it begin. All right, well, we're talking about Dorian and Celaena, and that's unfortunate. Like, at that point, does it even matter who? Like, we're coming back to this destiny and this fate, and it could have been Dorian. It could very much have been Dorian, and Celaena could have been, right in more cruise control for all of this. But I feel like this emphasizes why it did not actually have to just be Celaena. Also, like, why break? Let's try honesty. Hear me out.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe share your knowledge.
Maybe we share knowledge. Like that's a writing preference maybe that I just need to remember in my own writing, that I will always ask, why can't they be honest? And if there is an answer, I need that clear.
Yep.
I need
agree.
it. Elena says that even though this will devastate Celaena, it's fine because Celaena always will find a way back, because that's just what she always does. She's like, hey, she's gone through a lot of fucked up shit, but it's fine because she survived and she can go through more fucked up shit. I just had a memory of one of the particularly horrible things that she goes through in the future, and it made me sad because this is Elena saying it's fine. She'll come around.
She'll survive.
She'll survive. And no one gives Celaena the full truth in order for her to make an informed decision. Like, we will never know what it's like for Celaena to be willing to step up or not. And then traumatize her. God. Knowledge is power, and they're withholding power from Celaena, and yet they want her to take the power as the role of queen. And they're no different than the people who just want to manipulate her and use her as a puppet, because they don't care about her power. Because if they cared about her power, they would give her knowledge.
Yep. Ultimately, everyone just wants to use her as a symbol and the antithesis to Otterlin and the king.
Yep.
And it is messed up. And there's a reason Aelin does what she does at the end of Kingdom of Ash as a big fuck you to everybody that I appreciate, because she really, really drew the short straw in life.
Yeah.
But she didn't know she was drawing straws. It's just awful. Now, before we move on to chapter 26, I have to read this line because I forgot this and it made me really, really mad. So this is the queen, or Elena, who is saying, quote, "Then do you understand what I am asking of you?" The princess looked up toward the shaft of moonlight spilling into the tomb. When she looked back at the ancient queen, her eyes were bright. Yes. Then Elena again says, "Then do what needs to be done." Elena has asked Nehemia to sacrifice herself. It's not Nehemia willfully choosing this. I remember them having the conversation.
I think that's what I've been saying.
No. So I remembered Nehemia and Elena having this conversation. I always thought it was Nehemia choosing, not Elena asking.
No, it was always Elena. I remember, that was the one thing I do remember. It was Elena fucking, which again is more bullshit of Nehemia, just to be like, so when I was saying earlier, like, she doesn't go against Elena's order, when it's like, but you're willing to blindly follow her and sacrifice yourself and let yourself die over this, like, that's what we're doing here.
Yeah.
And it's more fucked up of Elena, because Elena's trash.
Elena is trash. And she doesn't have to deal with the consequences because she's dead.
No, you just have to keep waiting for the next one. Like, oh, this one doesn't work out. Wait for the next descendant to come around.
Yeah. Anyway.
I'm mad.
I don't like Elena.
No. Or
Elena's
Nehemia,
dead
because
to me.
Nehemia doesn't, like, that's another thing where, like, who is the coward? And Celaena, at every end of her own journey as a heroine, as an FMC, has been willing to push back, right? The king says, "Go kill these people," and she says, "No, I'm gonna do something else." Elena tells Nehemia, "Go sacrifice yourself," and Nehemia says, "Okay," and yet she's going to say that Celaena's the coward.
And there's something really, really, really fucked up about this white woman telling the only POC character, go kill yourself.
Hey, and that's another trope that we see time and time again in books, in movies, and media in general, where POC characters, oftentimes women, female POC characters have to sacrifice themselves in order for the main character, a lot of times it's a man, but this time it's a woman, but still a white character, to grow and to propel their journey. Their sacrifice is meant to make someone else grow and learn and be better. And that is unacceptable.
Yep.
So remember that, guys, for your own writing. Remember that here and now. I love SJM. I do love these books. I love what she's done. And yet we can find fault and say, do better.
Yep.
Grab a snack, stretch your legs, and listen to this while we plot our next move. Did you know my mom got a whole new patio set?
No?
Yeah, and she's supposed to be putting it together on her own.
Oh, she can't do that.
No, that's why I'm getting her to TaskRabbit.
I know your mom and stepdad would really want to do it themselves, but honestly, they should be enjoying retirement and just get TaskRabbit.
That's why I told them to get started by going to TaskRabbit.com or to download the app. They get to search by the best tasker for their job based on cost, skill set, availability, and past client reviews.
They can even schedule their tasker as early as the same day if they're super in a rush.
Taskers have assembled over 3.4 million pieces of furniture, done 700,000 home repairs, completed 1.5 million moves, and more.
Plus, with TaskRabbit's happiness pledge, if you're not satisfied, they'll work to make it right.
With the amount of books I keep buying, I actually have my tasker coming next week to help me set up a new set of bookcases.
Be like Jack and her mom and tackle your to-do list today and get 15% off your first task at TaskRabbit.com or on the TaskRabbit app using the promo code BookTalk.
That's promo code BookTalk, BookTalk, at TaskRabbit.com for 15% off your task.
TaskRabbit. Book trusted help for home tasks.
Amy, yesterday when I went to that Argentinian restaurant, I ordered my empanadas in Spanish, and the owner of the restaurant was surprised with how good my Spanish was.
Oh, nice. You've been practicing.
I've been practicing with Babbel.
Like Jack, you can start speaking a new language with confidence thanks to Babbel's conversation-based technique that quickly teaches you useful words and phrases about the things you actually talk about in the real world, like ordering empanadas.
I got 3. That's tres. Babbel is handcrafted by over 200 language experts. Babbel's lessons are voiced by real native speakers and built with science-backed cognitive tools like spaced repetition and interactive features to fit any learning style.
Babbel's tips and tools for learning a new language are approachable and accessible. It's like having a private tutor in your pocket.
One of my favorite ways of learning Spanish has been the Babbel games that they've provided. I think I'm having fun when in actuality it's science-based and spelling reinforcement.
With over 16 million subscriptions sold, Babbel's 14 award-winning language courses are backed by a 20-day money-back guarantee. So get talking with Babbel.
I want you to learn another language. That's why we're teaming up with Babbel to gift you 55% off subscriptions, but only for our listeners at babbel.com/booktalk.
Get up to 55% off at babbel.com/booktalk, spelled BABBEL.com/booktalk. BOOKTALK.
Babbel.com/booktalk. Rules and restrictions may apply.
This show is sponsored by Liquid IV. It's starting to get into hot weather here in California, and both Jack and I are weaklings when it comes to the sun. One of the things we always make sure we do is hydrate, but especially with electrolytes.
I think it's a well-known fact amongst our friends that I drink Liquid IV daily. I try to drink 3 liters of water a day, and my liter that has my Liquid IV is always my favorite one, and I save it for my midday water because it's my happiest water.
Happiest water.
It is my happiest water. It brings me the most joy because it's the most tasty.
I'm so excited to try the new Arctic raspberry flavor. I love raspberry, and I love the idea of it being icy cold.
Plus, Liquid IV has sugar-free solution powders as well by LIV Hydroscience for smart hydration.
Just 1 stick and 16 ounces of water hydrates better than water alone. It has 3 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drink, 8 essential vitamins and nutrients, and is always non-GMO, vegan, gluten-free, dairy-free, and soy-free. Squeeze the most out of your summer with Liquid IV. Tear, pour, live more.
Go to liquidiv.com and get 20% off your first order with code BookTalk at checkout.
That's 20% off your first order with code BookTalk, BOOKTALK, at liquidiv.com. Growing up, my parents were obsessive about the chore charts and the stickers that we got to use to track our chores and what each completed chore was worth in money.
And now with Acorns Early, you can apply that to today's kids with modern technology. It's genius. Acorns Early is a smart debit card and money app that grows kids' money skills as they grow up.
Start with the in-app chores tracker and teach your kids the value of $1.
Then let your kids set up their own savings goals. Start building healthy money habits early.
Make them work for that PS5.
Absolutely.
Kids can spend what they've earned with their own customizable debit card, giving them the extra sense of independence.
Plus, with Acorns Early, spending limits and real-time spending notifications, parents always stay in control.
This is definitely something I would use if I had kids because I love nothing more than teaching hard work for reward.
This is what's going to happen when I have kids. You're going to be teaching my kids with Acorns Early.
That's exactly right.
Ready to teach your kids the smart way to earn, save, and spend? Get your first month on us when you head to acornsearly.com/booktalk or download the Acorns Early app.
That's 1 month free when you sign up at acornsearly.com/booktalk. BOOKTALK.
Acorns Early Card is issued by Community Federal Savings Bank, member FDIC, pursuant to license by MasterCard International. Free trial for new subscribers only. Subscription fee starting from $5 per month unless canceled. Terms apply at acorns.com/early terms.
We are now in chapter 26, and Chaol is out with the King of Otterlin and Dorian while they're hunting with the other members of the court. Quote, as Chaol trailed behind the king, his new Asterian stallion earning many admiring and envious glances from the hunting party, Chaol allowed himself to consider, for one heartbeat, what his father would make of Celaena. So I want to point out the particular point where there are many admiring and envious glances from the hunting party towards the new Asterian stallion. Something we didn't talk about before Chaol and Celaena boned in the broom closet is that when she showed up at the barracks to steal Chaol away, all the guards were looking at her appreciatively. And so I have to ask, is the Asterian stallion metaphor for Celaena?
Yeah.
Because they are treated the same way.
Yep.
And once again, emphasizes the fact that Chaol wants control.
Yep.
Now, during the hunting, the king calls out Chaol for killing game for the other nobles to claim. And that's what Chaol's done in the past. But he's a little distracted right now, and the king sees it. And Chaol thinks, quote, perhaps he hadn't been as discreet as he thought. Now, Chaol smiles at this thought. He's like, oh, the king noticed it that I kill game for the other nobles so that they can look good. And he smiles at it. And I think it's because he appreciates being noticed.
Yeah.
Right? Because we've seen how important it is to him that he is noticed. Chaol's distracted from the fact that the king notices everything Chaol does. That's a threat.
Yeah.
Chaol's with Celaena. Chaol is distracted. The king notices. That should be concerning. But it's not, because Chaol is not on his A game right now. He is distracted. As the king tells Chaol to have his men stationed outside the room where the king will interrogate Nehemia that evening, Chaol asks if there is anything else that the king needs. Quote, no, the king said, knocking an arrow to his bow and firing at a pheasant that surged up from the brush. A clean shot, right through the eye. That will be all. Now, just from a writing perspective, this feels very, very tied to the fact that the king is going to interrogate Nehemia tonight. They're literally talking about interrogating Nehemia, and then he kills a pheasant.
Yeah.
It is foreshadowing that Nehemia will die.
Yep.
And I know that seems really disjointed.
But not really.
But not really. Look at what the conversation is and look at the actions that are happening.
Yep.
And then, just have to point out that Dorian and Chaol, there's just so much tension because Dorian feels left out.
Dorian just wants to be loved.
He just wants to be part of the throuple.
Don't worry. He'll totally have peace and harmony from here on out. It's fine. you were saying something about like when the king noticed, and that's threatening. When people notice, it's threatening. And I'm just laughing because Amy's fiance like is visiting family. And immediately I was like, oh, let me guess. You put together a list of all the things that you want to do and you're going to code it by day of which day you're going to do it. And then today at the gym, I was like, there's nothing you love more than being productive or like planning for productivity is being efficient. It's threatening details. And I know.
It is. It is scary to be seen.
What was my other one? I thought about this. I was laughing so hard was that when you're determined, I can't remember, you lead with your left shoulder.
Really?
We talked about this when you're like, I think you've adjusted since then, but there was like a time where when I was like, oh yeah, when you're determined, you kind of like, you're walking, you lead with your shoulder. I pointed out to you one time at the gym and then you started doing it. You're like, wait, what? And I feel like I haven't seen that happen in a while.
You said left foot.
Left foot, whatever shoulder foot, but you lead with something. I can't remember if you lead with the hip, a foot, but you lead with the side of your, like one side of your body.
Which makes sense because the right side of my body is the one that's always damaged.
Yeah. But it is funny, like when you know, like I'm very observant.
Yeah, she can tell when like my hips are hurting or when my back is hurting. She's like, you're walking different. I'm like, oh, I didn't realize.
I am for someone who is very does not clock a lot of things in life, ask me what someone's name is, I could not tell you. But if you're in my like bubble of what I know about someone, I am very observant.
Yeah.
You'll never escape to me. I will always threatening. It's threatening.
It is threatening.
Saying here now. Yes, it is. In the most loving way possible. I don't want this kind of Netflix documentary shit being used against me. Chaol being with the king right now and with Dorian, it's making Chaol a little confused because now we're back to Chaol trying to figure out what's the right and honorable thing. It's very easy when he's with his hot girlfriend and being able to be like, you know what? The king does kind of suck. I do want to follow you. Versus now he's in front of the king, he's in front of Dorian, and he doesn't know what's the right or wrong thing to do. It's why Chaol starts to question on whether or not he should be honest and tell Celaena that the king wants to interrogate and question Nehemia. And ultimately, Chaol decides not to tell Celaena because he worries, and this is a fair thought, that telling Celaena might be a test to Chaol to think, how loyal can he be? And in all fairness, I will say, like, he wants to question Nehemia. That doesn't implicitly say he's going to kill her, right?
Right.
He wants to ask her questions. I think that's not a big enough thing to be like, hey, I think that he's not saying, hey, I want you to be there, ask questions. Like, can you lay a rubber mat on the floor and get me my gloves, right? But I'm going to go into this quote. Quote, Celaena, knowing or not knowing, made no difference. He told himself as he laid curled around her in his bed. We're back to these power dynamics, right? Chaol has this power over Celaena in this moment because he knows something she doesn't know. And poor Celaena, she doesn't know shit. She doesn't know anything.
No, and it's really unfortunate. And I understand Chaol's conflict, right? Because from his point of view, the king's just going to ask questions. And it's because Chaol lacks the knowledge of the secret guards that the king has, of the killing of Rena Goldsmith and her partner, right? There's so much that Chaol doesn't know and chooses to not investigate.
Yeah.
And so he takes the king at face value, at his word, because that is easier than doubting the king. And Chaol really struggles with it in this moment. Quote, Chaol didn't tell Celaena what the king had said. The part of him twisted until it hurt. The king wouldn't hurt Nehemia, not when she was such a public and well-liked figure. Not when he'd warned Chaol about that anonymous threat on Nehemia's life. But he had a feeling that whatever was going to be said in the council room wasn't going to be pleasant. So on some level, Chaol knows not to trust the king and is worried about Nehemia. Again, when the king told Chaol that there was a threat on Nehemia's life, Chaol wanted to tell Nehemia and her guards.
Mm-hmm.
He is choosing to be willfully ignorant, and he knows it.
Yeah.
He is aware of that choice. And I think that's because it's easier to be willfully ignorant than it is to jeopardize his honor by telling Celaena what is going on. Because what if it's nothing?
And
What if it's just questions?
And that's a very reasonable thing to think, like that it is just questions.
And it is only because Chaol is so honorable that he's not willing to mention it.
Yes. But even through all that, Chaol still loves Celaena. Like, his loyalty is to her. Quote, if the king ever gave him the order to dispatch her, then he plunged his sword into his own heart before he would obey. His soul was bound to hers by some unbreakable chain. These are the oaths, and these are his commitments to one another, and it's shaking him up, right? Like, he's just kind of like, okay, I'm going to listen to the king, but I will never hurt her.
His soul was bound to hers by some unbreakable chain.
Yep.
Again, if not mate, why mate shaped?
Mm-hmm.
Because unbreakable chain
is mate shit.
Is mate shit.
I have so many questions for her. I have so many. You know what? I would rather a detailed explanation of what the fuck is going on more right now than the next ACOTAR book. I said it.
I think I want SGM to rewrite Throne of Glass and Crown of Midnight more than I want the next ACOTAR book.
I could not agree with you more. And I'm going to throw in Air of Fire.
I haven't read Air of Fire recently, so I can't remember.
Same.
But I'm just... Nehemia needs so badly to be rewritten.
She can still have the outcomes that are all going to happen. I really need her to rewrite these to make it make sense and to stop making Chaol mate shape.
Yeah.
We get this moment where Chaol thinks about Celaena as his wife again. Like, at first he's like, oh my God, what if my dad met her? Wouldn't that be crazy? Well, what about this? Quote, he snorted, imagining what his father would think when he learned that Chaol had taken Aderlin's assassin for his wife. The thought stopped Chaol dead in his tracks. She was only 18. That is the right thought, by the way. I would like to flag this. That's some good, honorable shit. That is some good, be like, wait a minute. She is way too young. So I just want to say, good job, Chaol. I will also say, though, is that before this, Chaol talks about his mom and how his mom was perfect for his dad because she was the ultimate wife and mother and was meek and submissive. And I wonder if Chaol struggles with Celaena, the idea of Celaena being a wife, because the only wife he's ever seen would be his mother, right? To his father. And he knows that Celaena doesn't fit because he can't even imagine introducing Celaena as his girlfriend and then as a wife. And it's just like, the idea of it is, he laughs at it. Like, he knows that it's ridiculous. But again, Celaena goes against what he knows.
Yeah, which makes sense. But he tries to imagine it. And before he's kidnapped, which is how the chapter ends, he thinks, quote, but he couldn't help imagining it, the glimmer of the future and how it would be to forge a life together, to call her his wife, to hear her call him husband, to raise a brood of children who would probably be far too clever and talented for their own good and for Chaol's sanity. It's cute. It demonstrates that he's really in deep, which tragically is going to be mirrored by Celaena in the next chapter, just for it all to fall apart.
My heart hurts.
We never have to see them struggle through the consequences of being together.
Yeah.
This is so just in its infancy stages. It's how you play make-believe in your head when you meet someone cute and you're going on a few dates, right? It's not real. And it's about to end.
And maybe that's what makes this hurt more, right? Like, maybe this is good writing in the sense that it ends before it even begins. Maybe that's kind of the point. Maybe it's the fact that they were never going to work, and maybe if they were together longer, it would start to become more clear and apparent that there would be issues between them.
Yeah.
And they get to live in the what if and the fantasy, and that's some of the things that hurts the most, right? Are the ones that got away. Are the one, like, we all have that what if person that we look back to and think like, oh my God, if things had been different.
Yeah.
And that could be the genius of this story, of it making it hurt so good, right? But again, why mate shape if not mate?
Yep.
Let's get into
some breadcrumbs and broomsticks.
Yeah. Chapter 23. Chaol thinks about Celaena moving on from him. Quote, wherever she made her home, there would be some man who would fall in love with her and would make her his wife. And that was the worst truth of it all. And that sucks because it's true. She will find her mate. She will find Rowan, and like his fear will come true.
Still in chapter 23, when Chaol and Celaena go to her room to have sex, quote, it was a miracle she made it back to her door without pulling him into a closet.
Yeah.
Which is funny because that does happen
like
later.
She's like, it's almost like she got that idea in her head. She was like, God, I just really want to fuck him in a closet. In chapter 24, when Dorian talks about Baba Yellowlegs, she tells him, when Dorian talks to Baba Yellowlegs, she tells him that witches are related to, quote, Fae or Valg. We never learn which one. Right after she is described as smelling like mildew and rotted blood, I have a feeling we know which one. Spoiler, the Fae smell nice.
Still in chapter 24, when Celaena runs into Archer as her targets flee Rifthold, quote, I don't have anything to say. I'm too busy debating whether I should just kill you and drag your carcass before the king. She wasn't bluffing. After last night with Chaol, she was starting to wonder whether simplicity would be best. Anything to keep Chaol from getting ensnared in a potential mess. Well, Chaol does get ensnared in a mess. She does kill people because he gets ensnared. And then she does ultimately kill Archer and drag his carcass before the king. There was just a lot of foretelling in that one section.
Oh, yes. Back to my earlier saying, hey, I'm going to rant later. Quote, Celaena tells Nehemia, I am one person chosen by Queen Elena, one person whose brow burned with a sacred mark on the day of that duel, one person who, despite the odds, is still breathing. Our paths crossed for a reason. If you are not God bless, then who is? Elena told Nehemia, go to Aderlin. Elena told Nehemia about Celaena. Elena told Nehemia, go be friends with her. How the fuck is that fate? How the fuck is that being like paths crossed in this moment? And you mentioned in another episode, and we had to delete it because it was not said in the breadcrumbs and broomsticks area. So I'd like you to say it again here. And you talked about thinking that Nehemia was resentful of Celaena. Why is that?
Because when she was studying word marks, if I remember correctly, Nehemia comes across a prophecy about a princess who will change the fate of the world, essentially. I can't remember which book we learned this in. It might be Queen of Shadows. It might be Empire of Storms. One of those two. So what we learned during that conversation is that Nehemia thought she was the princess foretold, only to find out Elena said, no, it's not you. I need you to go make the real princess being foretold to get her ass moving.
Yeah.
And if I remember correctly, or if I imagined it, Nehemia's really upset by that. She wants to do the noble thing. She wants to be the one to free her people, free the world of the King of Aderlin. And yet she comes to this spoiled assassin who is selfish, who is unwilling to fight for others because she has trauma. And Nehemia hates that.
Yeah, I think it's a good point. I agree. I think Nehemia, one, the amount of ego that it takes to be like, oh my God, a prophecy about a princess? It's
Must be me.
it's me. Oh my God, I'm the princess. Like, that takes a lot of ego. But then to be rocked by the fact that it is someone who is so unwilling, yeah, I think I agree. So I do believe that I love your idea of Nehemia being very spiteful and angry about it and resentful.
Last but not least, in chapter 26, Chaol is out with the king and Dorian while they are hunting. And I'm going to read a couple quotes. Quote, "He was massive. The king's size always surprised Chaol for some reason." Quote, "No," the king said, knocking an arrow to his bow and firing at a pheasant that surged up from the brush. A clean shot right through the eye. So there's a lot of descriptions of the king being big and deadly, and we should probably be asking ourselves, why does he need protection? When he's exactly like Cain. He's big and broad
And has
and wears a black ring.
Yep. Now for the broomsticks. And our broomsticks, we asked our listeners, was Nehemia right? Is Celaena a coward? There's some DMs. Do you mind tackling some of those DMs?
Sure.
There's one that was read, but I didn't actually read it. It's just open.
Okay. All right. So I will start with DJ. I wouldn't necessarily say that Celaena is a coward, but Aelin is. She's at this weird point where she still has Aelin buried, but she's not really Celaena anymore, not truly. I would argue that Celaena started to crumble as an identity in Dovir. Nehemia's purpose is to get Aelin back to fight against the king and, more importantly, the Valg. So, of course, in Nehemia's eyes, Celaena/Aelin is a coward because she's too scared to be herself and fight for what she knows is right. I think the distinction is good.
Yeah. Aelin, again, maybe the term coward is just like harsh for me, but Aelin has responsibilities. Celaena does not.
Yeah. Yep.
I found this to be super interesting, the fact that people are very much yes and no. Like the amount of people is saying yes, 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 and then firm no, absolutely not. Leah says, I don't know the answer to that, but I really wish we had more of Nehemia's point of view. Did she really have to die to make her point? No.
I don't think so.
Nope. We have another one. No, not a coward. She didn't know all the parameters of what's happening. Gotta save yourself first.
I mean, honestly, yes. And the fact that we try to teach against that, it's nuanced.
It's so nuanced.
I guess that's what I'm going to say. Michaela says, Celaena is not a coward. She is a young woman, not a girl, I am learning, with little to no resources, no terrorists and allies she knows, and who is just trying to survive. The rebels seem just like a small group that would not help her even if they recognized her. Oh yeah, they would just take advantage of her.
Absolutely.
She's just being smart.
Someone says, Celaena is an 18-year-old magical being in a world of genocide. My bad if our girl wants to live. Yeah.
Fair.
It is magical genocide. Oh my God. Good point. Is it cowardice if you know you can't win? Aelin wasn't a coward, but she wasn't ready to be Aelin. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, I think the distinction between Celaena and Aelin is important because Celaena is making a transition, whether or not she knows it currently. And is it true? I think you could argue either side. Celaena's the coward and Aelin isn't, or Celaena isn't, but Aelin is.
Yeah.
Right. It's hard to distinguish between them right now because Celaena doesn't know who the fuck she is either. Yeah. She does, but she doesn't.
Not at all. I mean, other people make good points of immature is a more accurate description of Celaena. Coward was just to use to light a fire under her ass to get her on her journey.
Yeah.
And yeah, but I also feel like Nehemia was selfish enough to believe that you know, Aelin is, or Celaena is a coward.
I mean, for all her wisdom, Nehemia is dumb and immature too.
Dumb. I mean, ultimately, a couple people here, when they say yes, she is a coward, but Nehemia knew her fate. So, you know, how can you be brave when you know your fate?
Yeah. That's fair. It's fair.
And then plenty of people saying she's a child. Someone says yes and no. I only say this as I'm in my 30s, but they are both so young and think they're all right. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I mean, it's easy to criticize someone when you know that you're never going to have to do what they do,
Mm-hmm.
right? Nehemia knows on some level she's never going to have to fight the fight.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, no, she does know. Someone else makes, I mean, everyone who's saying yes is pretty much agreeing that it's like, because she's traumatized, because there's, traumatized is more than cowardly. Yes, but also
Mhm.
makes it sound very black and white when there's different shades of gray. Like, I mean, even the people who say yes, she was cowardice, understands the nuance of it.
Yeah.
Someone else says no, and this is a good point. Celaena undoubtedly would have failed trying to reclaim Terrasen earlier in her journey.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep. All right. I think you got to ask me a question. Have you asked the last 3 questions?
I feel like I have.
We need to make sure I ask the question next week.
Yeah. All right, Jack. So for this week's question, if knowledge is power, what are the power dynamics between Celaena, Chaol, and Nehemia?
So there are some, I don't know if it's irony, but maybe there is if I make the point correctly, to this. Celaena thinks that she's the one who holds the most amount of knowledge because she thinks that she's the only one who knows about her true identity. I think in the hierarchy of this, Chaol is probably the least powerful, knowledgeable. I think the only thing that he has knowledge and power over is the fact that Nehemia is being targeted, is being threatened, is going to be interrogated.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, that little bit goes a long way. So quite unfortunate. When I say what the irony is that I think Celaena walks around not like I'm so powerful, but with this burden of truth, right, on her shoulders, when Nehemia has the same burden of truth. The only difference is Nehemia is manipulating that burden, that knowledge, which means
Mhm.
she's manipulating the power dynamics. And Nehemia knows the most, and she is the most powerful. And you can really see that because she's the one who, granted, all done on Elena's account, but again, Nehemia could very much have said, hey, would love to live. And it's Nehemia who disrupts this entire story and
Mhm.
Celaena's life and everything. I mean, it gets the ball rolling. That was the job, her job to do. But she is the most powerful character here because she holds the most amount of knowledge, and she shouldn't.
Yeah, and we're not saying it's this really tricky situation, right? Where Elena has given Nehemia all the knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And in that way, her own burden of truth becomes the reason for her sacrifice.
Yeah.
Because she's in on the secret and you can't kill a woman who's already dead. So you have to kill Nehemia, who's second in this hierarchy, kind of.
Mm.
Yes, I agree with everything that you said. Nehemia has all the power over Celaena right now, which Celaena doesn't understand
Yeah.
because Nehemia is manipulating her. I also think, though, that all the knowledge that Nehemia has works against her.
Yes.
I think that she's never truly able to wield the power that she has because A, she was never meant to.
Mm-hmm.
B, she also is a child.
Mm-hmm.
And it was never her journey. And really, Elena should have just done it herself from the get-go.
Yeah. That's a good point. For someone who has the most knowledge, the most quote unquote power, she is the most powerless because she is the one who never questions anything.
Yeah.
So
That's a good point.
Yeah. Quick answer. I mean, that we're doing broomsticks correctly or giving it more of an effort, our part goes by quickly.
Yeah.
But, I enjoyed it. Now don't look forward to having my heart broken from here on out.
Agreed. Neither do I. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Book Talk for Book Talk with Jack and Amy. Next week, we will be exploring chapters 27 through 34 of Crown of Midnight.
We encourage you to rate and subscribe to our show on your preferred podcast listening platform. We would also love to hear your thoughts based on today's conversation. You can submit your comments to our forum at booktalkforbooktalk.com for a chance to have your feedback discussed during a future mini episode or on a Patreon exclusive episode.
If you are enjoying the podcast, please visit our website, booktalkforbooktalk.com, to view our latest merch and learn about supporting the show through Patreon or Venmo. You can follow us on TikTok, Instagram, or YouTube at the handle booktalkforbooktalk.
Bye.
Bye. This show is sponsored by Liquid IV. It's starting to get into hot weather here in California, and both Jack and I are weaklings when it comes to the sun. One of the things we always make sure we do is hydrate, but especially with electrolytes.
I think it's a well-known fact amongst our friends that I drink Liquid IV daily. I try to drink 3 liters of water a day, and my liter that has my Liquid IV is always my favorite one, and I save it for my midday water because it's my happiest water.
Happiest water.
It is my happiest water. It brings me the most joy because it's the most tasty.
I'm so excited to try the new Arctic raspberry flavor. I love raspberry, and I love the idea of it being icy cold.
Plus, Liquid IV has sugar-free solution powders as well by LIV Hydroscience for smart hydration.
Just 1 stick and 16 ounces of water hydrates better than water alone. It has 3 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drink, 8 essential vitamins and nutrients, and is always non-GMO, vegan, gluten-free, dairy-free, and soy-free. Squeeze the most out of your summer with Liquid IV. Tear, pour, live more.
Go to liquidiv.com and get 20% off your first order with code BOOKTALK at checkout.
That's 20% off your first order with code BOOKTALK, BOOKTALK, at liquidiv.com. Growing up, my parents were obsessive about the chore charts and the stickers that we got to use to track our chores and what each completed chore was worth in money.
And now with Acorns Early, you can apply that to today's kids with modern technology. It's genius. Acorns Early is a smart debit card and money app that grows kids' money skills as they grow up.
Start with the in-app chores tracker and teach your kids the value of $1.
Then let your kids set up their own savings goals. Start building healthy money habits early.
Make them work for that PS5.
Absolutely.
Kids can spend what they've earned with their own customizable debit card, giving them the extra sense of independence.
Plus, with Acorns Early, spending limits and real-time spending notifications, parents always stay in control.
This is definitely something I would use if I had kids because I love nothing more than teaching hard work for reward.
This is what's going to happen when I have kids. You're going to be teaching my kids with Acorns Early.
That's exactly right.
Ready to teach your kids the smart way to earn, save, and spend? Get your first month on us when you head to acornsearly.com/booktalk or download the Acorns Early app.
That's 1 month free when you sign up at acornsearly.com/booktalk. BOOKTALK.
Acorns Early Card is issued by Community Federal Savings Bank, member FDIC, pursuant to license by MasterCard International. Free trial for new subscribers only. Subscription fee starting from $5 per month unless canceled. Terms apply at acorns.com/early terms.
The search for truth never ends. Introducing June's Journey, a hidden object mobile game with a captivating story. Connect with friends, explore the Roaring 20s, and enjoy thrilling activities and challenges while supporting environmental causes. After 7 years, the adventure continues with our immersive travels feature. Explore distant cultures and engage in exciting experiences. There's always something new to discover. Are you ready? Download June's Journey now on Android or iOS.